This video is about my Get Home bag. It's not a bug out bag or 72-hour bag or an EDC, everyday carry. Those are for different purposes. This is a Get Home bag that will be kept in my vehicle and will be packed with some items to make my life more comfortable if I had to make it home on foot. Hi, this is Everyday Prepper. Welcome to the channel. Right, so this is the bag. It's a military style small to medium rucksack with some MOLLE webbing on the side and the front. You can attach various extras if you want to, like I have these extra pouches. They're all attached by the MOLLE system. Fits nicely, it's comfortable to wear. It's got a supporting adjustable strap, waist strap, just to make it a bit easier to carry. So before I unpack the bag, I wanted to mention some of the most likely scenarios where I may have to use this in the UK. So I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios that might be relevant to you in the UK. Certainly more relevant to me in my part of the country. Might be different depending on where you are. For instance, if you're right at the north end of the country, especially in Scotland, you're going to experience more harsher weather. So a weather scenario might be more likely. For me, the most likely scenario is that my vehicle breaks down. I say for me the most likely because not all of you will have second-hand vehicles. I've always had second-hand vehicles, never been able to afford a new one. You might have lease cars or brand new cars, or you replace them every 3 years, in which case, it's unlikely that they'll be breaking down before you have weather that stops you driving. However, new vehicles have been known to break down. So for me, that's the most likely scenario. Now, you can mitigate that partially by having some breakdown cover, like AA or RAC. Now, I had a situation recently where my ignition barrel failed and the steering wheel wouldn't turn at all, and it turned out that the barrel needed rebuilding or replacing. I got it rebuilt. But when the AA guy came out, and I ended up, because I wasn't actually a member, because I work really close to home, I'm never more than about 5 minutes away really. But when I called out the AA guy, he took about 3 to 4 hours to get to me. I couldn't use the car in that time. I managed to get it off of double yellow lines, but the wheel lock was on, so we couldn't go straight forward. He wasn't able to tow me anywhere. He wasn't able to fix it, so he had to refer me to a locksmith. So £150 later, and also 3 days later, the locksmith was able to come out. This happened on a Friday evening, and the locksmith wasn't able to come out till about the Monday morning, I think about 10 o'clock. So the car was left there for 3 days. Now, had I been further away from home, that would have been, especially if I wasn't able to get a lift, maybe I had to hike to a train station, I would have had to use my Get Home bag, definitely. As it happened, where it broke down, it was literally half a kilometre away. I could just jog back home in 10 minutes, 5 minutes. So what I'm saying here is a vehicle breaking down and having breakdown cover doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get fixed straight away. So if you haven't got the means to get home and you have to leave the car there for a few days, what are you going to do? Are you going to try and get home? Are you going to stay with the car? Are you going to stay with friends? Get a hotel? If you had to get home, have you got the supplies to get home with? Second most likely thing that I reckon could happen to me would be a weather situation, because I've had it before, where snow has blocked the road, floods have blocked roads, high winds have taken down trees and blocked the road. Weather can be a major factor where I live. And in the event of a road being blocked, being completely hemmed in or just not safe to drive anywhere, then getting home with a Get Home bag may be an option. So rather than staying inside the vehicle, which would probably be the best option in extreme weather, not necessarily. So if you didn't want to stay in the vehicle, you could call a Get Home bag a vehicle bug out bag, where you have to bug out from the vehicle and then make your way to another location, preferably home. And third, a fuel shortage could possibly be quite likely. It's happened twice in the last couple of years in my neck of the woods, so it's very, very likely to happen again. That could be sorted out by just having some spare fuel in my car, enough to get me home. I currently work 5 minutes away, so it's not really a major issue. But the odd time I am out in the sticks, if I couldn't get fuel at a petrol station because there were massive queues, or they'd shut the stations because fuel had literally run out, and it can happen fairly quickly, I know this because this is what happened, then if I didn't have spare fuel on me, then I would possibly have to make my way home. Carrying spare petrol around in the car is not ideal for me. It does smell, and I don't always feel safe having 20 litres of fuel sitting in the back of my boot. And lastly, and these aren't really necessarily in any particular order, I'm just looking at what's most likely for me, but lastly would be perhaps a mass protest or large demonstration that was blocking roads and you weren't allowed through, and I had to ditch the vehicle and try and get home. I'm sure there's plenty of other scenarios where that you can think of where you might need to leave your vehicle and actually kind of bug out of the vehicle and get to another location, maybe home or a hotel or a friend's, to ride it all out. So let me know in the comments what you think. What's the most likely in your area? And is there any scenarios that I've completely missed, completely forgotten about? I'll be interested to know. Right, let's dive into the pack. What I'm going to do is literally just unload the pack and explain the items that are in there and see what you think. First thing you're going to need is some water. In one of these sections, I believe it is this one here. There's my hat. We have some water. Now, I always carry more water in my car. I normally carry about 3 to 4 litres of water in my car, sometimes more. And I have various bottles like this. So this is I believe 500 ml. Probably stock it up with at least 1.5 litres, maybe even 2 litres in the pack, if I could manage it, depending on how long the walk was, really. You've obviously seen the hat. I've got a hat because of cold weather. In the summer I probably wouldn't necessarily need that. Here we've got a snack, and I'll have more of these. I have loads of these in the car. Grenade bars, like an energy or protein bar. I'd probably have more energy bars, actually, something with a bit more sugar in. And I'd have those in the pack just in case. And again, depends on how far away I'm going. Generally, when I leave home, I know how far away I'm going to be, so I'd pack my bag accordingly and make sure that I've got provisions for a long distance walk home if I needed to. So we've got a multi-tool. Probably just clip this to my belt while I'm walking, but really good because they contain the pliers there. They've got a knife in there to cut things like paracord. Very, very handy, and to cut cable ties, which I'll show you about in a minute. I'll pop that there. And here just got some piece of paracord, and again I'll explain why I've got paracord. Some people don't like having paracord with them. They don't feel it's necessary in the UK. It's important for me, and I'll show you why in a second. Now I've got some cable ties in here as well, always handy, and I've got some dog poo bags. I've got a load of dog poo bags all in here for all sorts of reasons, including a waste, so you don't leave any trail. So that's that. It's just kept in a little sandwich bag just to keep it dry. Got another webbing strap here. I think that came with the pack, and some more cable ties in there as well. In fact, I'm going to get those two out because I'm going to demonstrate something in a second. Right, so that's the straps there. So I'll obviously have my mobile with me, and in my mobile I will have some cash just hidden in the case of the mobile, just some spare cash, not a great deal, 20 quid, something like that. But as far as mobile is concerned, I always have these in my car. I've got 2 of them, and I run them on the cigarette lighter, and I charge one up, and then I swap them over when the other one's worn down. So I would immediately just chuck one of those straight into my backpack, whichever's the more charged one, and make sure I've got the right leads as well. And I've also got this solar panel. This is a 20-watt solar panel with a little USB connection on here, and it's great. You can hang this off the back of the backpack, and I use this all the time in the car to to charge up these battery packs. So if I'm not running the car, if I'm sitting waiting for any reason, in the summer certainly, on a bright day, I'd stick this panel up. As I say, it's about 20 watts. Stick that up on the dashboard, and I charge these battery packs up from my phone. But equally, I could hang that from the back of my rucksack while I'm walking and have that charging my phone or charging up a power bank. They're really good. They even run a small fan as well in the summer, little desk fan, which I use while the engine's not running. And we've got a neckerchief there, especially for the winter, just to keep the chill off. We've got some flushable toilet wipes, used for all sorts of things, and obviously they're biodegradable. Some shades, just in case, snow blizzards, if you're walking home in really like pelty hail or something like that, then these are good. These are kind of working shades. They've got a little strap that goes around the back as well to keep them on, but they're really meaty, and they'll stop most things from damaging your eyes. This little pouch here, I've attached it earlier to the molly on the front, but in here I've got a torch. The batteries in here are so they got a little sticker on in there, and I'll just pull that out and then it'll be live. It's just so the batteries don't perish while they're being stored, but that works nicely. It's also got a little fluorescent light on there as well for extra lighting. I've got a penknife in here, got some more paracord. I've got some ibuprofen tablets, I believe. That's pretty much it in that pouch. It's just a couple of little extras. On here I've got a carabiner just to hang stuff off. Can hang my solar panel off of it. And I've got some paracord on there as well. Right, so this is my med kit. So I'm not going to bore you with all the ins and outs of the med kit, but one bit I have got, this is a cool pack, which is for, it's called an instant ice pack. So it's great if you've got a sprained ankle. So obviously if you're walking some kind of distance and you sprain your ankle, or any kind of sprain, this is brilliant. You just break these up. I think you squeeze, I've only used them once. You squeeze it so it breaks the seal in the middle, and then the two compartments can flow together, and it gets really, really cold, like almost unbearably cold. So it's very, very good for to stop swelling from a sprain injury. The rest, I've got some surgical gloves in there. I've got adhesive wound pads. I've got a tourniquet. The tourniquet, actually, the main reason I've got that in there is just because if I come across an RTA, if I come across a really serious accident and I can help out in any way, and some, anyone with an injury requires a tourniquet, then at least I've got one. I don't hope to not have to use one on myself, but I know how to, and obviously the only other thing I've got to do is put a marker pen in my bag so I can mark the time that went on. Bit of antiseptic cream, some Germaline, some plasters, ibuprofen. I've got ibuprofen gel in there as well. Again, if you're walking a long distance, you could get aches and pains, and that gel's great for that sort of stuff. I've got some paracetamol in there too, some micropore tape. I've also got a load of these. These are little wet wipes that you can literally, you just put a few drops of water on, and then they open out into a wet tissue. And they're great for using the toilet, that kind of stuff, when you run out of these things. This side one on here is I've got a little pack in here that's got a survival kit. Not expecting to need this if I'm just walking home, but inside here there's just about everything you can think of. You've got compass, there's tinder, waterproof matches, all types of matches, little crayon in there, there's a whistle, and sewing kit and that kind of stuff, so all very handy. That just stays in there. And then the other part of the pack, I've got some more paracord, a spare key, some poop bags, and the other one as well, in this one I've got a spork as well as the penknife. Not that I've got any tins to eat it or anything like that at all, but if I was on a longer trip I might pack some tins and a small gas stove, just because you never know, if you're going to be on a really long trip, you might want to heat up a tin on the way home. I'll base it on about 4 mile an hour walking pace. Right, this is the main part. Come back to that. I've got some spare clothes in here. I've got a radio. There's a little Bofang copy actually, with a little rubber ducky aerial, and these are great because you can get, depending on the situation, if you wanted to listen to news events and everything else, you've got FM radio on here as well. I'm also a licensed amateur radio user, so I could communicate with home if I needed to. So I've got spare socks, big spare socks to keep you warm and for walking as well. Always handy to have spare socks, look after your feet if you're walking. I've got a couple of tools in the bottom there, a pair of pliers, a little spanner in case I needed to do any other stuff, change of underwear. The main other things I've got in here are, I've got this poncho. So this is quite a big poncho. I think it opens out to a couple of meters by a couple of meters. It's also got, I don't really want to get it out of the bag because it's hard to put back in, but it's got points all the way around it, holes on all the way around it like a tarp, so you can literally use it as a tarp. And I've done this on a number of occasions. I've fished it out and just used it as a tarp, as a bit of a shelter, and it works really, really well, and with a couple of bungees, and that's where the paracord comes in handy. So I've got a couple of bungees in there. I've got some guy ropes there as well. There we are, a couple of guy ropes, a couple of bungees, and yeah, it's got these points on it which you can hook up. You can hook it up to a tree if you needed to. If you needed to get sheltered on the way home while you're walking, then really, really handy. The other thing I've got as well, and I'm not talking about, as I said, this is not a 72-hour bag, it's not a stay overnight bag, but if things got really bad and I needed a bit of shelter just to have a bit of a rest and I wanted to be under cover, then that's what that poncho is for. I've also got a couple of these space blankets. These things are great. I fished one out earlier to check it out, and there is absolutely no way you will get one of these back inside the packet that it came from. Hence why it's in this sandwich bag. But these are brilliant. So they have a gold outer, a gold surface and a silver surface. If you want to keep warm, you would have the silver surface on the inside and the gold on the outside, and then you'd reverse it for summer to protect yourself from heat. And they're really good. I went and stood outside earlier today in a t-shirt. It was quite cold out. I wrapped this around me, and it really does keep you warm. But I think what I'm going to do, I may do another video actually where I'll test this properly, and I'll wait till the temperature is really low and we've got loads of snow and all sorts happening, and then I'll go out there with no shirt on and we'll see what this is like. But for now, those are really good. So a couple of those, they stay with me. I've also got a bit of loo roll in there as well. And that's that. Now, as far as the poncho is concerned, using it for a tarp, I've also got these trekking poles. Now, these are really light. They're aluminium, and I haven't really seen these been shown on other videos about get home bags, and possibly because it might be a little bit overkill. But these are great because they will stand up to probably about 5 feet or so, well, 130 centimetres, what's that, 1.3 metres. So you can make a ridge tent out of your poncho or out of your tarp, and then just attach these with guy ropes. I've got some pegs also. I've got 4 pegs in the pouch, and I figure these would be really handy to build quite a decent shelter if you really needed to. So these might stay in the car just because they're a bit cumbersome, a little bit awkward, but if I was going to walk home on any sort of long distance, I would probably include these. And the way I would do that, so we have these 2 straps, and I would just plonk them down the side like that, strap that together on there, like that, and that, because of those sticky out bits there, that's almost holding, and then I would just get the cable ties, and I'd just link a couple through the molly attachments there, and then round to round the poles, and just tighten that up, and I'd do that top and bottom, and they'd stay fast, they'd be fine. And I've tried to pack on with these on, and absolutely fine. And there's barely any weight at all. So that's the whole bag unpacked. One thing I forgot to mention was there is a lighter in there as well, a little Bic lighter, just in case I needed to light a fire. I've got some matches in there in the survival kit, but a lighter is always handy. I haven't taken a ferro rod. And the reason behind that is I believe for a short journey like that, then a lighter and some matches should suffice. I have yet to properly master a ferro rod. It's very touch and go. I find lighters and matches a lot easier. Maybe as a prepper I should really know how to use a ferro rod, but at this stage I haven't, and it's really quite hard. It's not as easy as some people make it look. It takes a lot of practice, but it's one of those things that as a prepper you probably should know, and I know that. I probably should know how to use it. But use of a ferro rod in a get home bag, I didn't really figure was, we're not talking long term. Here we're just talking about getting home, keeping warm, having enough water with you, and a snack just to keep you perked up. So I hope that's been useful. I'm sure I've missed something. Please let me know in the comments below what you think. Let me know what you do for your get home bag if you do use one, and if you've ever had to use it. That would be interesting to know. And if you've enjoyed this video today, please consider subscribing if you haven't already, so you can hopefully enjoy more content like this. In the meantime, this is Steve at Everyday Prepper, and stay prepared.